Formula One drivers spend every weekend pretending they're part of a team. They wear the same uniform, drive the same car, celebrate under the same flag. But there's one problem. Your teammate isn't just your partner. He's the only driver on the grid with the machinery to prove whether you're really as good as everyone thinks you are. Some F1 teammates become friends. Others barely tolerate each other. And sometimes, what drivers really think slips out. So what does every Formula One driver actually think about the person sitting across the garage? Why your teammate is your real enemy? Before looking at specific pairings, it's worth understanding why this relationship carries so much weight in the first place. Two drivers, essentially the same machinery, the same team, the same technical resources, and theoretically the same opportunity to perform. When you lose to a rival from another team, there's always an excuse available: a better car, a different budget, a different set of regulations working in their favor. When you lose to your own teammate, none of that applies. Championship implications follow directly from this. So do career implications and contract implications. Team principals watch head-to-head results between teammates more closely than almost any other statistic in the sport because it is the cleanest available measure of who is actually faster. You can explain losing to another team. Losing to your teammate is much harder to explain. That's why every opinion in this documentary carries more weight than it might first appear. The championship pairing. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri have known each other since they were karting against each other as children. By 2025, they were also fighting each other for the Formula One World Championship, but the moment that first tested their relationship came a year earlier, at the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix. A McLaren pit strategy accidentally promoted Norris ahead of Piastri, who had been on course for his maiden win. Told to hand the position back, Norris resisted for 15 tense laps before complying. "Yeah, not proud about it," he admitted afterward. McLaren's approach to managing that tension became known as papaya rules, team principal Andrea Stella's term for racing your own teammate hard but cleanly. The same dynamic resurfaced in smaller doses through 2025, including Piastri returning the favor at Monza after a slow pit stop of his own. Norris won the 2025 title. Piastri finished third, having led the standings for much of the season. Here's what makes this pairing genuinely unusual. Afterward, Piastri did not describe the relationship as damaged. "I think it is either exactly the same or, honestly, probably better than it has been," he said. "There are difficult moments and tension at times, but I think both Lando and I have become better drivers from pushing each other to the limit. Respect, friendship, or a rivalry carefully managed by a team determined not to let it become destructive." Based on their own words, it may genuinely be all three at once, which, in Formula One's history of teammate title fights, is rarer than it sounds. The teammates who might actually like each other. Not every high-stakes pairing curdles into tension. At Mercedes, George Russell is the established lead driver. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is the teenager who arrived in 2025 and became the youngest driver in F1 history to lead the championship. Then backed it up with 3 consecutive wins in Miami, Canada, and Monaco by mid-2026, genuinely outracing his own teammate. Despite that, Antonelli has stayed candid about the gap he believes remains. "Experience is my biggest weakness compared to drivers like George," he said, "no question." He's called their dynamic a good relationship based on healthy competition and credited Russell directly for advice that helped him perform. This is the shape genuine teammate respect tends to take, not an absence of competition, but an acknowledgement of it that does not tip into resentment, even once the results start running the other way. But Antonelli has also admitted that as his results improved, some of the informal help he had received from more experienced drivers quietly dried up. Friendship in Formula One is easy, until both drivers want the same corner. The most awkward garage. Ferrari's pairing of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc began in 2025 with enormous expectations, a seven-time world champion joining a team many believed could finally deliver Leclerc his first title. That first season was, by most accounts, difficult. Hamilton went the entire year without a podium, adjusting to a new team and new engineers after 12 years at Mercedes. At the 2025 Miami Grand Prix, running a different tyre strategy to Leclerc, he grew audibly frustrated on the radio. "Have a tea break while you're at it, come on!" What's notable is that the friction was directed mostly at the team and the car, not at Leclerc personally, who handled the same season with a more measured tone. Asked if he felt jealous of Hamilton's bond with team principal Fred Vasseur, Leclerc's response was simply, "Fred is not my girlfriend." By 2026, the picture had shifted. Hamilton won outright at Barcelona and picked up multiple podiums, while Leclerc took the British Grand Prix, both drivers finally delivering the results the pairing was assembled for. Neither driver has to say, "I don't like my teammate." Sometimes what they do say, and what they later stop needing to say, is more revealing. The superstar and the man who has to beat him. Some teammates arrive as equals. Nobody who lines up next to Max Verstappen ever really has. Sergio Pérez spent 4 seasons as Verstappen's Red Bull teammate, sharing in 2 Constructors' Championships along the way, a race winner, a 2-time championship runner-up, a driver Red Bull trusted for years. After Red Bull released him at the end of 2024, he described the job in terms nobody inside the team had ever said publicly while he still held it. "Being Max's teammate at Red Bull is the worst job there is in Formula One," he said. "If I was faster than Max, it was a problem. A very tense atmosphere was created. If you were too slow and Max was slow, then everything was a problem." Back in 2023, while the relationship was still ongoing, Perez had called it a great working relationship. The contrast between what he said while holding the seat and what he said after leaving offers a rare glimpse into how differently a teammate relationship can be described once the professional circumstances around it have changed. Isaac Hadjar inherits that seat for 2026. Before the season even began, he had already offered his own honest assessment of what he was walking into, saying plainly that Verstappen was better in every aspect. What happens when your greatest opportunity in Formula One is also, by the account of the man who held it before you, the hardest job on the entire grid? The 2026 season will be the first real test of whether Hadjar becomes the exception to that pattern, or whether he'll discover that being Max Verstappen's teammate is every bit as difficult as Perez described. The rest of the grid. Not every teammate story needs 200 words. Some of the grid's most revealing moments come in a single quote. At Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso calls his relationship with Lance Stroll unlike anything else in the paddock, praising him for being very smart and not targeting him on track. Even through a brutal 2026, the tone stayed light, trying to keep ourselves entertained. At Alpine, Franco Colapinto, his own seat genuinely uncertain for months, called teammate Pierre Gasly a great teammate and someone I can continue to learn from, even as his results gradually caught up to Gasly's. Elsewhere, Sainz and Albon at Williams, 2 race winners with little public friction reported. Hülkenberg and Bortolito at Audi, Ocon and Behrman at Haas, Lawson and Lindblad at Racing Bulls, and at brand new Cadillac, Bottas and the returning Perez. 2 drivers who each know exactly what it is like to race in a faster teammate's shadow, now paired together for the first time. Every garage runs some version of the same relationship. Some are just quieter about it. When respect hides competition, listen closely to how Formula One drivers talk about their teammates, and a pattern emerges. Praise can carry more meaning than it first appears. Take a phrase like "he's incredibly fast." It sounds like a compliment. But inside a garage where every lap time gets compared directly, acknowledging a teammate's speed also quietly recontextualizes your own performance. It can explain away a loss, or set the stage for a future one. this isn't necessarily insincere. Most of the mutual respect documented across this sport's current pairings appears genuine, but a driver who publicly praises a teammate's pace is also, whether deliberately or not, managing how their own results get read by everyone watching. Formula One drivers rarely speak without knowing exactly who is listening. A short guide to decoding common Formula One phrases. We have a good relationship usually means exactly what it says, though it says nothing about who's currently ahead. We're free to race is a team's way of saying the gloves are off, within limits nobody will specify publicly. And he's very competitive can mean genuine respect, or a polite way of describing someone a driver finds genuinely difficult to deal with. Formula One drivers operate inside one of the most tightly managed media environments in professional sport. Sometimes the most interesting part of an interview is what the driver carefully avoids saying at all. The relationship that could explode. Right now, Norris and Piastri describe their relationship as stronger than it's ever been. But Formula One has destroyed stronger friendships than this one. The conditions that tend to break teammate relationships are already present at McLaren. Two drivers of genuinely similar pace, a title fight that went down to the wire, and a management philosophy already tested by real contact and two team orders controversies. None of that makes failure inevitable. But this exact combination, equal performance, unresolved championship ambition on both sides, is what has broken other partnerships in this sport before. Right now, there may be genuine respect between them. Formula One rarely lets that stay simple for long. What they really think. Bring every pairing together, and a pattern emerges. Some, like Russell and Antonelli, have built something close to genuine mutual respect, even as results tilt toward the younger driver. Some, like Norris and Piastri, compete fiercely and still describe the relationship as stronger, not weaker. Some, like Hamilton and Leclerc, navigated a genuinely difficult first season with the tension pointed more at circumstances than at each other. And some, like Pérez, described the experience very differently after leaving, offering a perspective far more critical than the one he had expressed while still inside the team, leaving Hadjar to find out, in real time, whether his own honest early assessment holds up. Underneath every one of these relationships sits the same, unavoidable fact. Every driver's opinion of their teammate is shaped by the person they are measured against. Every single session, for as long as they share that garage. The only driver you have to beat. You don't have to beat Max Verstappen every weekend. Unless you are driving his car. You don't have to beat Lewis Hamilton, unless he is sitting across your garage. That's what makes Formula One teammates different from every other rivalry in the sport. They are partners, rivals, benchmarks, and sometimes the biggest threat to each other's careers. Because before an F1 driver can prove they are better than everyone else, there is one person they have to beat first. The person wearing exactly the same shirt. Which current F1 teammates do you think genuinely have the best relationship? And which pairing is most likely to fall apart? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy documentaries uncovering what really happens behind Formula One, subscribe to Formula Decoded. There are many more stories still to come.